I'm Tracie Powell with All Digitocracy. All Digitocracy started as a blog, but it's much more than a content company. It's a skills building company, not just for journalists, but for news organizations as a whole, as well as their viewers, readers, and users. But we don't do it in a preachy way. We try to work in a more collaborative way. We discuss better ways of engaging diverse audiences while engaging these audiences as part of the skills building process. Our training ranges from how to write more inclusively for diverse audiences to how to best connect with sources. We also connect job candidates with hiring managers. And because we see these same problems that we see in the news industry and other media industries, we talk about that as well. Advertising and advertising, as well as film and television, gaming, and even comics. But journalism is our main focus, and here's why. Just yesterday, while I was on a plane coming here, a story broke about a TV station in Spartanburg. Did anybody hear about this? Where there is a cardboard cutout of a woman called Michelle to remind reporters that she's their target audience. A memo to staffers states, "Meet Michelle. Michelle is who you want watching your newscasts, your stories. She will be in every editorial meeting with us and in the newsroom during the day. When you pitch to her. When you write to her." What the memo does not state, but the cardboard cutout shows clearly, is that Michelle is a white woman with 2 children. Nor does the memo state that the area that the news station serves is home to a large African American population, as well as rapidly growing Asian and Latino populations. I know this because my mom lives there. Now, I don't have to tell you what's wrong with this picture. Suffice it to say, this is why All Digitocracy exists. What prepared me for this, I think, is that I started my career on the business side rather than the newsroom. I sold advertising, worked in circulation, and became an entrepreneur before that was even a word. I launched niche publications for night reader newspapers as a management trainee. I eventually edited a small weekly newspaper and launched a website for it called DallasExaminer.com. I later launched a high-quality glossy and regional magazine called Eclipse and a website called DallasHaps.com with money we received from a hair products millionaire named Comer Cottrell. It became all the rage, but Eclipse and Dallas Haps failed, victims of their own success. We did well too fast, I think. But I had fun and I worked harder than ever before, at least until now. At All Digitocracy, we see ourselves as the media bistro for women and journalists of color. I have about 20,000 uniques a month and more than 150,000 page views, and like I said, we're still very young. Here are my challenges. Some of them are self-explanatory. Money. That is the biggie. Access to networks and mentoring. I think one of the key problems I have is getting support from journalists of color and women themselves. Not because they don't believe in it, because I have the page views and the traffic to prove it, but because they don't put the dollars behind the product. Maybe that's because they don't have the dollars. In terms of, well, I don't think it's going to work. Oh, it did work. Oh my goodness. So that is the main thing. Money is the issue, and we need it. But it's also one of my biggest successes, and I'll talk about what happened this week. When the lead education blogger for NPR tweeted that only white guys called her back when she reported stories, I responded with how she could change that, and she thanked me for helping her do her job better, and for connecting her with more diverse sources. I consider that a success. when the New York Post and Wall Street Journal both removed items from their reporting that colored their coverage of an unarmed black man killed by police in New York City, I consider that a success. When All Digitocracy is cited as a top shared news site for information about the Ebola epidemic ahead of the New Yorker and NPR for the way it tried to help journalists tell credible stories on this subject, that too is counted by me at least as a success. But those aren't quantifiable though, right? So what is quantifiable? At the height of the shopping season in December, I launched a crowdfund campaign that is concluding this week. I'm happy to report that we landed a major sponsor for a web series that I will soon launch. I raised more than my original ask. The web series is called How'd You Get That Media Job, and it will spotlight some of the top innovators in journalism with them talking about how they achieved their success. The goal is for the series to serve as a blueprint for other journalists and media professionals in their own careers. And as I said, I got money. Hint, hint, I'll be hiring a production company. And I want to work with one of you all.